Tipsy Gypsy here with a combined technique bloom landscape. Shout out to Mishka Nace for her tutelage. Canella for helping me with my editing. Would not be as good of a video without her recommendation. And then of course Cause Creations. Her landscapes are just very inspiring, and I thought I would show you guys how to do it in a bloom technique, combining different processes. I like using transparent pillows because it really helps with definition when it comes to values of color, especially in a situation where we're doing a landscape. I am labeling all the pigments as I go, so I'm not going to walk through that, but you can see here what it looks like glow in the dark. Now the color on this video is kind of weird, but the initial photo is the genuine color of the canvas. So I start with my sky, and I spent a long time kind of mapping it out to do kind of a sunset. And I think the most important thing is remembering when you're layering your colors, knowing your color theory a little bit. For example, I don't want to layer my sun, which is yellow, over a blue, because that can create green, especially with some of these pigments that I'm using. Sometimes the fluorescent pigments, while the pigments are designed to be opaque, I also mix with some PBO, which is a little bit more transparent. So the first technique we're doing is obviously a swipe for kind of my clouds and designing how I want that sunset to look, the movement, if you will. The second technique is actually going to be a little tiny cell transfer. And I'll have to go back over that later on when it's spun out. Yeah, that turned out pretty cool. I really love these colors together. They're so vibrant. Now your horizon line is probably the most important thing. I like to leave a little bit of space, especially if I'm working with colors that mud easily, such as here I have the Cunag and the teal, and while they look nice together, when they're layered, they can create mud if they have too much emulsion. And I also just wanted a very clear, distinct line between what is horizon, or what is my sky, and what is my land. And you will see me go back through later on. So for the background of my desert, I also did the swipe technique. I put a lot of thought into making sure I layer some of my transparent colors more on top, and yet still using the right cell activator. I think mattered a lot, which was, for this part, was Amsterdam Primary Yellow. And it's going to look ugly at first, but I promise it's beautiful. This actual video is about an hour long, so I've condensed it the best that I could. And this here was a little tiny bloom that I did right on the large palette knife, and this is supposed to be my river. It turned out pretty cool, and now I'm trying to create some flow between my horizon and my land. And it looks funny at first, and this is where you have to have a little bit of experience understanding what's going to happen when you stretch it out. And that's just kind of trusting yourself, trusting your paint, and trusting your process a little bit here. So never be scared to play with the composition. This is right here what I just did with the modifications, where transparent pillow kind of comes into play. By scooping some of it up just over, I can create a little bit of a dark value purple mountain ridge because of the transparency of my pillow. Obviously when it dried, you can see what I'm talking about. These are little hide and reveal transfers. What are hide and reveal transfers? Good question. So it's where you basically are creating a composition on the palette knife, and you put your cell activator on top, but you don't swipe and you don't blow. You set it there, and as you stretch it out, the cells will naturally kind of pop out. So this is using the darker values on the topmost layer. So when they dry, I can see some of the background action below it, which also helps because obviously I need it to be UV. Those top layers are not UV. But I was hoping the transparency would allow the UV paints underneath to still shine, and it worked. I was very glad that that worked. It does not look beautiful right now. Like I said, sometimes it's trusting the process and understanding how the paint is going to spread and stretch. You'll see the magic happen. You're right. Yep, that's a good note about the values. Values are so important when doing landscapes because you have to form that impression of light to dark, dark to light, separation of color. That's what, you know, especially that horizon is really what gives you that distinct idea that you're looking at a landscape no matter how abstract it is. So here I'm just kind of testing to see how the paint is moving so I can make any last minute adjustments before the big spin, which is, you know, kind of where the composition actually starts to develop. And yeah, I like to kind of take my time with it. This one moved exactly as I wanted it to. I got pretty lucky. You can see that transparent pillow there at the top of the horizon where the mouth of my river is, how it helps really just create movement up there to mimic kind of like mountains with like a river coming through. I was really happy with how that turned out. And then I added some yellow back over my sun because some of the blue had gotten underneath it and I didn't want it to turn green. Knowing under the UV light it is green, so I had to be a little careful with that. And it's always okay to go back and touch up, but she turned out magnificent. I might do the full-length video on YouTube at some point, but I also didn't want to take up too much of everybody's time. And so if you have any questions, please ask. I might do some more of these. It was so much fun. It took about an hour. And, you know, a little GAC 800 through your paints, all of them can go a long way. It stops them from slowing down too quickly to work with. So happy painting, and remember to have fun, guys. If you're still watching, here's a little bonus of the inspirational photo, which I think I actually did pretty good representing it. And it was great to use for reference to map out the whole thing. And I'm really happy with the colors. So that's it. Till next time.